The upgraded protocol on the ASEAN-China Free Trade Area came into full force on Tuesday. It will further release the dividends from the implementation of the FTA, so that the preferential policies of the FTA will truly benefit the enterprises and the people of all member countries. ASEAN-China FTA is the first and the largest free trade area negotiated by China. In 2018, two-way trade reached nearly $600 billion, an increase of nearly 11 times over the initial launch of the FTA in 2010.
Surrounded by the greenery of Beijing's Olympic Park, the permanent home for the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is ready. After 3 years of construction, the architectural design of what called the Asian Financial Center is based on the principle of simplicity and dignity.
The structure covers an area of 390,000 square meters and is composed of 5 office buildings. It is 16 floors high and there are 3 underground. The AIIB headquarters has a building area of 80,000 square meters above the ground.
Taking a more meaningful look at the architecture, people can identify many local features, including a Chinese knot, which is meant to represent the country's tight connection to the world.
It's in accordance with the requirements of the AIIB, which are simplification, integrity, and green. With exquisite construction technology, we have achieved the perfect integration of traditional Chinese cultural elements, energy-saving technology, and modern technology.
The AIIB began operations in January 2016 and has now 100 approved members worldwide. It has so far given the green light to 50 projects with an overall investment of about $9.6 billion.
We have tried our very best to invest in infrastructure projects, particularly transport, energy, urban development, water supply, sanitation, and renewable energy projects, to promote a green economy.
Jin says the majority of AIIB staff will move to their new home next March, and the bank's annual meeting for 2020 is also expected to be held there.
The China Power Hub coal-fired power plant started commercial operation on Monday. It is the first China-Pakistan joint energy project. The ceremony was held in Hub, an industrial city in Pakistan. Imran Khan, Pakistani Prime Minister, attended the ceremony as a guest. He expressed appreciation for the completion of this energy project, especially as it provided jobs and in-depth training for 6,000 local people.
I'm very happy today because this is the first China-Pakistani joint venture project in the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. I set up a special department to follow the CPEC projects in order to quickly solve the problems encountered and promote the rapid advancement of the projects.
Chinese ambassador to Pakistan also attended the ceremony. He said that the construction of the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor has entered a new stage. As a friend of Pakistan, China will keep making contributions to a prosperous Pakistan.
The CPEC is entering into a new stage, a stage of industry cooperation, a stage of agricultural cooperation, a stage of social cooperation. And this hub coal power plant is one of the examples.
The Hub coal-fired power station project is a pioneering project of CPEC, and it is also the first overseas thermal power project developed by China's State Power Investment Corporation. As a part of the Belt and Road Initiative, the project will use technology to reduce coal consumption, save costs, and reduce emissions.
Nearly 1 year after the deadly Lion Air crash, Indonesian investigators have released the final report in a briefing held for family members of the victims. Anton Sahadi attended that briefing. He's been seeking justice for 2 of his cousins who were on board that flight.
We are not satisfied with the report that was released to us today. We still feel that it didn't provide us with the information that we have been looking for. Our hope is that the Transport Committee will now abide by the law. The airline should take responsibility. and needs to be sanctioned because we don't want this to happen again in the future. Safety needs to be taken seriously.
According to Anton, the committee attributed mechanical issues as the main reason for the crash. He said other factors include a lack of communication and education regarding the MCAS, which malfunctioned just 13 minutes after takeoff. Latif Nurbana also lost his son in the crash. Just like all of the family members, he wants clear answers.
The Transport Committee says this report cannot be used as evidence in court, but as families of the victims, we see there are a lot of factors that could work in our favor. We know now that the problem was not human error, it was a mechanical issue. Although they said we aren't allowed to use it as evidence, I think we will certainly use some of this new information for our lawsuit procedures with Boeing.
Latif says Boeing should prioritize safety above economic factors. The 737 MAX was officially grounded globally on March 13th, following a second crash in Ethiopia, less than 6 months after the Lion Air incident.
Q3 numbers for South Korea's economy are out. The latest figures showing economic growth here slowing more than expected. Between July and September, up 0.4% on quarter. That's down from the 1% rise seen in the second quarter. Analysts say a drop in domestic spending and external factors stemming from global trade uncertainties were the main drivers for the slowdown. Now, it wasn't all gloomy, though, as exports recovered slightly. Outbound shipments up 4.1% in Q3. Now, in response to the slowing economy, the government here has introduced a $5 billion stimulus plan, and the central bank has cut the base interest rate twice over the past 3 months. And earlier this week, President Moon outlined his policy proposals for next year to Parliament, asking for a 9% increase in spending next year. Of course, exports play a large role in Asia's fourth largest economy, but an ongoing trade dispute with Japan and the trade war between China and the U.S., which happen to be South Korea's two largest trading partners, make the outlook on exports much worse. And that's why the country continues to invest heavily in future technologies like AI and software amid the fourth industrial revolution. It's also looking at other soft exports like cosmetics and K-pop. In fact, a recent study showing that the boy band BTS alone could generate nearly $40 billion in economic value over the next decade, which would put it in line with some of South Korea's largest conglomerates. In the meantime, South Korea's economy will have to pull its weight in the fourth quarter if it's going to reach its annual target growth rate of 2%. Now, markets here in South Korea reacting rather cautiously to the GDP news on Thursday, with stocks ending the day trading mixed.
Just think, 1 month in Colombia and then 2 months in Romania, or perhaps a few months in Chiang Mai, Thailand, then back to England just in time for the brilliant blue skies of summer. That has been Chris's life on repeat for the past 3 years. He is part of the growing global community of digital nomads, a location-independent workforce for whom work and travel are no longer mutually exclusive.
I was just living in this sort of self-imposed prison, and I saw that I was spending so much each month and not leaving home, working from a computer, that I thought, well, why don't I do this from somewhere nicer?
That somewhere nicer now happens to be Chiang Mai, northern Thailand, a city with perhaps the most concentrated nomad population in the world. Tens of thousands flock to this city with a few $1,000s and dreams of making it big, or at least keeping their travel-work lifestyle going as long as possible.
This city was once an idyllic, peaceful city, but in the past decade, digital nomads have helped shape the city's economy and transformed it into an urban, modern, creative hub for digitally savvy millennials. It has all the essential ingredients that a digital nomad requires: high-quality living at a low cost, high-speed internet, and a community of other nomads to network with.
By next year, the global workforce will consist of mostly millennials, with estimates that by 2035, there may be as many as 1 billion digital nomads globally. However, as it stands, most currently operate in a legal grey area regarding their immigration status in Thailand.
Thai government, it's easier for them to get a visa to work in Thailand, maybe like for the first year or two, and after that they can decide if they want to set up, some sort of permanent settlement in Thailand.
For Chris, who sells auto parts online, a permanent setup is not in the cards.
It's quite strange towards the end of the trip. Or usually what prompts me to leave is a sense of wanting to sort of cash in the achievements and hit a reset button.
And until he feels that it is time to push the reset button, he, like all other digital nomads, will continue to live the drifting life, with the city acting as their office, with little stake in the spaces they briefly occupy.